I have this interest in thinking like a criminal. It's not like I want to be one. Like any good attorney knows how to bribe a jury, but they don't do it, right? That's what makes them a really good attorney. That's being able to think like that. And so I was always thinking about how would I get away with robbing the bank across the street, or how would I penetrate this company from a technology perspective? So I always had that knack. So I was driving our company to get more and more into security. And then in 2015, I was visited by an FBI agent that walked into the office and said, "I'm looking for Tom Kirkham. I'm so-and-so with the FBI," held his badge up. And he says, "You're in trouble, but it's not with us." And he began to tell me that I am named on an ISIS kill list. Now, you may remember around 2015, there were a number of ISIS kill lists that came out. Most of them were politicians, law enforcement, military, New York City metro area, Washington, right? There was one list during that time that was random across the whole nation. And it was because of a data breach. An American in Georgia, Augusta, had breached this database. She had breached that database, and she was part of the United Cyber Caliphate, which is, at the time, was ISIS's National Security Administration, or U.S. Cyber Command, and they were highly skilled. But she sent that in and said, "Make this a new kill list." And so that's what they did.
Okay,
and
hold on.
it really increased my passion for going into cybersecurity.
No kidding. Just a little bit. Tom, take me to that moment. So it's like another day at work. You're in the office, not expecting this at all, and an FBI agent walks in the door,
right,
flashing their badge. What are you thinking initially in that moment? I mean, can you remember like the first thing, like what happened right there in that?
Right. It was in July. I may have said May, but it was actually happened in July, and it was right around July 4th, and I can't remember what day of the week it fell on that year. It might have been a Saturday, and the whole office was closed except for me and one other person who is our president now, and it was just me and him. So, it would have been, nobody would have believed me if I didn't have an eyewitness to all this stuff. But he comes in and he's going, yeah, and he's in a polo shirt and blue jeans, and he's like 30-ish, I would say it didn't really click. It didn't begin clicking until about 30 or 45 minutes into the discussion. And so I said, "Hey, I've never met an FBI. Can I look at your badge and, and see all that again? Because I knew I had the right to, right? So, oh yeah, sure. So I said it, and I handed it back, and we're just kind of, what's the name of this caliphate thing and all of that? And so finally I said, "So what does this mean? They're going to, try to hack into my bank account or whatever?" And he goes, "No, they've designated you to be killed. They want you assassinated, murdered." And that's when the gravity of the situation really sunk in. And of course, when you really start thinking about it, not only do you have personal protection, but you got to think anybody around you could become a possible target. So immediately I said, well, I've got to notify family and friends and colleagues that I'm on an ISIS kill list, and just understand that the likelihood of anything happening to me is extremely slim. And it's not like I got to worry about someone coming over from the Middle East to kill me. What they really were doing, one of the things they were doing, was recruiting lone wolves, other Americans that are sympathetic. They want to be a part of ISIS. And we just happened to have a couple living here in my town, and they eventually ended up getting arrested just before what I think was an imminent attack on a shopping mall. So I had to worry about that, and so I didn't talk to anybody except those that needed to know for a couple of years.
Would you describe that relationship that you shared with me earlier and why it's, ultimately the leader's responsibility to protect the organization when it comes to these cybersecurity issues?
Yeah. Okay. First of all, the vast majority of the population vastly underestimates their risk of being attacked. And some of these attacks are catastrophic. They can put your firm out of business. And what I frequently see is, it's real easy to make a management decision to say, okay, I'm convinced we do need to up our cybersecurity game. But then in certain industries, because we cover more than engineering, in certain industries, I see the head guy or the top three partners in an engineering firm, they just exempt themselves. They're exceptions to the security rules. And they're not setting the tone at the top. They're going through the motions. So that was a great management decision. And this is where companies, they really end up implementing halfway measures. But when you realize that over 90% of the breaches is because of a non-malicious employee let the hackers into the organization, it's not a technical problem to be solved. You know, we can put all these wonderful new technologies on there to get you to where it's a, 0.00% chance you'll have an attack. And everybody's got their own risk profile. But when you understand that 90% of breaches are a people problem, and you're not setting the tone at the top, you're not really addressing what the vulnerability is. It's not do it yourself any longer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not. You've got to go to the experts to really understand it. And you can just engage them with advice. You can get a vulnerability scan done on your network. You can cut your risk in half to your entire firm if you implement continuous cybersecurity awareness for everyone in the firm. That'll cut your risk in half. These guys that do the psychological manipulation, they're good. You know, the days of broken English, misspelled words, bad graphics on these emails, I get a chuckle when I see one because they're so rare anymore. I mean, they can fool me. You know, we simulate phishing attacks in our company every week, and there's only one person that's got a 100% score, and I'm not him. I've been fooled, and it's something that I'll be working on my Google security settings, and it just so happens that I get one of these simulated phishing emails that's saying, hey, your Google security settings changed. And I'll click on it, and the next thing, I've got a 2-minute training video on why I fell for it.
Oh my goodness.